This is the Dumpster Fire Project. That's right, and speaking of guests, right here in front of you guys are probably wondering who this handsome gentleman is. So our guest today on episode 14, very interesting guy. I've known him for a long time, and I think we're very grateful to have him here. But our guest today is an attorney, and he is an associate attorney at a pretty successful law firm here in the town that we live in. But he also has a few side hustles. He's done everything from a painting company to a food truck and an accidental side hustle that he's working on right now that we're going to talk about. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Baraibar. Mark, thanks for being here, buddy.
Eric, thanks for having me. Murray, good to see you. Good
Yeah,
to meet you, sir. Good. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm a little bit nervous, so if my voice is a little shaky, that's what's going on. But I'm really happy to be here with you guys. I'm loving what y'all got going on here. It seems real mellow, easy going. So I'm glad to be here.
It's different. We're a couple episodes ago, we would have been sitting right next to each other talking into an Amazon microphone, and look at all this shit that I bought.
Hey, man, moving up.
Look at Murray. He's still got his Amazon microphone and ear pods. He's not willing to invest. I'm the guinea pig.
Literally, my video is my phone propped up on a stand, propped up on a shoebox. So, Eric,
so
I might have to borrow some equipment.
You want to get interviewed by Murray, not me.
We'll make it happen, Eric. As you were saying, though, I am an attorney. That's where I met you in the legal world. Right now, I do personal injury law and help people that are injured at the negligence of others. And really, this whole COVID thing has shut us down. We rely. I mean, we don't want it to happen. It's just a necessary job. With car crashes and people being injured and such. Well, no driving equals no crashes. We did have a lot of jobs already, a lot of cases signed up. That's kept us going through this time. But it's really slowed down, just I'm sure, like for everybody. Yeah. And so this side hustle idea, it's really interesting because, I mean, a lot of people are going to be forced to do it. Your real job is probably, a lot of people have lost jobs. You have more unemployed people probably than ever.
It's true.
So, I mean, what better time to try something? I mean, you have to try something. Right. Some people are forced to do it. Not only turn your side hustle into the main hustle, I guess, really.
Right. That's a good point. Let's start with that just a little bit. Murray works in private industry. I'm still the same old government attorney that you knew years ago. So my job's relatively safe. It's really affected my side hustle. We can talk more about that later. But how has it affected you as a private attorney in the personal injury area?
This whole COVID thing?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm talking about is, first of all, no driving. That's the main thing. Traffic went down for a while to zero almost.
It's actually kind of nice for a little while.
When you're looking at it from that perspective, but whenever you're relying on, people, unfortunately, it's kind of a weird thing to say even. Yeah. But we do help people that are injured in crashes. And if nobody's driving, nobody's crashing, basically. It's kind of like work comp. If people aren't working, they aren't getting hurt, kind of thing. But we've been really a community-based law firm for so long that they support, we support the community so much. They support us back. We're one of the few personal injury firms that are actually here stationed in Lee County, and we're present here. We answer 24/7. So over the past 20 years, communities learned that we're here for them. So they've been here for us. So we've been blessed that people still come to us, But this whole COVID thing has really affected everything. I don't know about yourself, but all my hearings have gone to Zoom. Yeah. It's like we're in a Zoom era.
Yes, except municipal court. They haven't got the memo yet that COVID hit. So we're still doing stuff in person there.
Who don't need a ride, Eric?
We're doing okay. We're doing okay. Good, I'm just going to tell Shannon that we were talking about on here just so we can get another listener.
Okay, good.
She does a great job.
Hi, Shannon.
Great job.
Yeah, that's right. So that's another way that's affected us. I haven't gone to court in I don't know, since last year.
Right, which is weird, right?
Yeah, it's strange. Yeah. I haven't worn a suit in forever because I only wear the top.
Yeah, on Zoom, yeah.
So that's affected us. So interesting thing has happened, though, when I was sitting there locked up at the house. After a couple of weeks, me and the girlfriend are like, wow, we can't just sit here forever. So, what I saw on Netflix that Bob Ross's series came up, or I may have just found it. I don't know how long it's been up there, but I started watching and how peaceful, and I'm like, how easy he makes it look. I'm like, I've never painted anything on canvas in my life. I can tell. Never drawn anything, never painted anything. Well, one night, Friday night, we haven't gone out in weeks, and I'm kind of feeling better. I said, let's have an in-house date night. I said, let's do a painting, drink a glass of wine or something, right? She's like, I don't know how to paint. I said, me either. Nobody's going to know.
Yeah.
We pulled out these little canvases. We put on the Bob Ross video thing, and I followed along. And he has all these brushes, colors. I had 2 colors. So I was like, well, deal with what you've got, and I think you can relate to that, to a side hustle. You got to work with what you've got.
This was like old Bob Ross on Netflix.
Yeah, Afro.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that when I was a kid for sure.
Pretty little trees. No accidents, just happy little mistakes.
And you've never been into painting?
No, never done it ever. And then, so Friday night, I tell the girlfriend, I said, hey, just pull up a canvas and follow along and see what comes out. And I said, nobody will know. So here we go. We start doing it. And after a little bit, it's over. And I look at hers and she's like, oh my gosh, this looks awful. And I go, so does mine. Mine looks crazy. And she looks over. She goes, oh my God, babe, that looks good. I said, really? She's like, yes. Oh my God, post it, see what people say. So I did. I posted it on Facebook, got a great response. And I kind of like, wow, I want to do that again. It was addicting, that it actually worked. And so I did it again and posted it and got great response. And did it again and again and again. And slowly they started getting a little better. And I started like putting my own little twist on it. And then all of a sudden one day, I want to buy that one. I couldn't believe it. I said, really?
Someone like on Facebook contact you?
Yeah. Maybe they were just being friendly. I don't know. But either way, whoever, for whatever reason, somebody posts, I want to buy it. How much you sell it for? And I said, no. I kind of played it off like you're just being friendly or whatever. And then the next one I put on there had a big response and how much? And I want to buy it. And I said, you know what? I'll sell it to you. So now, what's happened is an accidental side hustle.
Yeah.
But it's how people say go after, do what you love.
Yes,
I actually love doing this.
That's it. Yeah.
And I didn't know it before. So that's one blessing that's come out of this COVID thing, is that I've discovered a passion.
Yes.
A passion. I'm not going to say I'm good at it.
Look at that, Murray. We didn't even tell him what this is about, and you hit it right on the head. I know Murray's going to want to chime in on this because you said all the magic words. I swear you must listen to some of the episodes. The reason why we do this podcast is because I was a prosecutor for 8 years. I worked my way all the way up to chief deputy in a relatively short period of time. And by July of 2018, I realized that I was burnt out and bad. I was probably burnt out before I even went to Espanola. But when I became chief deputy, it accelerated. And then, Murray, I knew was doing a side hustle. And I kind of was jealous. I was like, man, you're doing something that you love. And I'm just like burnt to a crisp here. So he kind of got me into this idea, and I kind of accidentally fell into mine also, which is I started a company to do, when I was in the DA's office, my favorite thing to do, once the thrill of jury trial wore off and I got sick of that, was teaching the police officers and training young attorneys. And there's a lot of good money to be made in that field. So I started a business to try to do that. I haven't made any money yet.
Training them to do what? So
like the police officers, when I was at the DA's office, I do a lot of search and seizure training, stuff like that. So that is available. Okay. If you're listening, that is available. And one of the things I'm working on now I teach at the police academy, and I've got really good feedback on as an officer, as a prosecutor, like teaching, because those guys go and they get tore up by defense attorneys and they prosecute their own cases. So when I taught them at the police academy, they seem to like that, and that's a big one. But the number one thing that I'm pushing right now, and I'm doing some webinars on, is talking about attorney burnout, which is something I experienced, and I'm sure you probably went through a certain amount of that too, which leads to the painting, something that you're passionate about. And tell us how. I don't know if you went through burnout, but all the attorneys.
I think so. I think you have. It's part of the job. Even everybody's mad at you. Yes. Your own side. My clients are mad at me because the case isn't moving fast enough. My clients are mad at me because I can't get them enough money. Right. And that's what's really this job leaves what I call splinters in my side that will never go away, because check it out. Even if I get you $1 million, it's not going to bring your family member back. They're dead. Right. And the case is over, but they're not. You can't bring them back. So there's that splinter. That little pain is always going to be there for them and me. Because I went with them, I saw, I have to deal with the photographs and the tears and I feel it too. I'm human. I can't just brush that off at 5:00, which is another thing. This job as a lawyer doesn't end at 5. It never ends. It
No,
never
it
ends,
doesn't.
literally. I don't stop thinking about Fourth Amendment rights at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
It keeps going,
Exactly.
So that's why I think burnout. If you're an attorney and never been burned out, I think we gotta check into you a little bit. Like something must be on, because this thing doesn't turn off. It's the light's always on. I dream about being late to court. I dream about being late to hearings. I dream about things going wrong constantly, missing things, deadlines. And then like what I was talking about was everybody's mad at me.
Yeah.
So I got my client who I'm trying my best to keep them happy, but this isn't going fast enough. Things are bumpy. It's a bumpy road. Of course, opposing counsel's mad at me. The judge sometimes seems mad at me because, for whatever reason, it just feels like it's me against the world is what it feels like.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. And
I told you it sucks, Murray.
It's only so
Didn't
much
I?
you could take of that, man, before you start saying, and here's the other thing. We're trapped. I mean, there's so much money invested in this thing. Let me just tell you right now, my debt coming out of law school was $280,000.
Oh man, I thought I had the highest. You got me beat by just a little bit, just a little bit.
$280,000. So what now? How many paintings do I have to sell to pay this thing off? And I'm not going to make it, right? So I'm stuck. And then not only that, the deadlines and these cases that we filed, they have a schedule. They have a scheduling order. So there's deadlines that have to be met. I can't leave. I can't just say, you know what, I'm going to take the next 2 weeks off or 3 weeks off. I can't do that. I haven't been able to. Yeah. I know other attorneys may have somehow been able to, but myself, I haven't found a way to do it. I have a hearing scheduled every couple weeks at least.
Yes.
Clients want to hear from me. Even if I do leave for a day or two, I make phone calls, emails, and everything, so it doesn't go away. Well, so anyway, I'm just happy to have found this little bitty corner of happiness in my life right now. Doing these paintings, I don't know, it's relaxing. And like you were talking to me earlier, I said, how long do your podcasts go? You said, before you know it, it'll be over. Well, the same thing with the paintings, Eric. I swear, I'm painting one and I look at the clock. Oh my God, 12:30 at night. And I started like at 8 and it's like 12:30 at night. I don't know where the time went. I was zoned in there, and it's a peace of mind. And
which helps. If you're a stressful job like being an attorney, it helps.
For a few hours,
like Murray and I, we just come home and drink.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to avoid.
All we do.
I was trying to avoid that. So, I saw you last week drinking some good stuff over there, Murray, up there in Michigan. I saw that.
Yeah, we're a beer city, USA, so we've got some good brews up here for sure. Yeah, even though I'm not a lawyer, I've still also felt like corporate burnout. And the good thing is the company I'm with now is in a better spot. But, peaks and valleys for sure. And when we're in those valleys, I just go after this side hustle.
What kind of work,
even more. So I manage the R&D team for a medical manufacturer. Right now, actually, clearly with COVID, it's like just bonkers with the PPE side. So the personal protective equipment that we have, we can't build it fast enough. I mean, we're trying, we're just throwing everything we can at it. Clearly for the moral reasons, the right thing to do to help out the pandemic. And then number two, I mean, if sales are down somewhere else in the company, it helps there. So, but either way, it's, the company the site I work for used to be privately owned, then private equity firm, then, multi-billion-dollar publicly traded corporation, back to private equity firm. So, I think where we're at now is a much better spot, but I felt burnout drastically before. And that's one of the things that started triggering me with this is what do I really want to do? How do I leverage my skills? If something goes south with this other one, or I do reach that burnout spot, I've always been very conscious about the happiness thing. And
that's another thing. Yeah, exactly, Murray. You're saying to try to be happy, and that's easier said than done. Because what does make you happy? A lot of times I didn't know this painting thing was a thing for me. I think sometimes you just gotta maybe even doing this podcast a little bit out of my comfort zone, and then once you do some stuff that's out of your comfort zone, get out there, try some things. I think instead of waiting it out, I think that's the mistake right now. Yes, I think waiting this COVID out is a mistake. Sitting there and the oil field crashed over here. Mm-hmm. I tell these guys, please don't just sit there waiting for the oil to go back up. Oh, it'll go back up, man. I've been through 6 of these cycles. Well, that's fine, but this one feels different. You know, I'm 44 years old. I've been through a few ups and downs too. This one feels a little different.
Right.
And I'm like, why wait for it to come back up? This is a great opportunity to jump on online courses, books, whatever. Just try something, even, you know, whatever it takes you out of your comfort zone, you might find something. And, you know, I think the side hustle right now is a great way to do. You got to do something.
Yeah.
So.
Do you see yourself, you know, we have a lot of great, like legendary older attorneys in Lee County that have been doing it probably since the 1800s, I think, a few of them. Do you see yourself practicing law at that long?
Wow, that's a good question. You know, I got to pay that $280,000, so I'll be maybe 200 years.
Yes,
probably,
exactly.
If it wasn't for that, probably not.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not. It's the paintings. You're gonna have to. You know, I could never sell enough to.
Right. Well, you know. Never know.
But I don't care about that.
Yeah,
I don't care about that. Luckily, it's just a cherry on top, man, to be able to sell one or two. This makes me even more motivated to do it. And who knows, man, in the future, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
You're doing it.
So one quick thought there, just because you dove into it, and I believe that doing things like this and networking, especially when you're venturing this far into something you've never done before, because I kind of did the same thing. I took a big leap, but we had a young lady on our podcast who does marketing. So I'm wondering, especially if you're really thinking about that $280K, paying that off, like maybe she could find a right way to get you into this niche market where people are paying larger dollars for paintings. And you get a couple of those guys that like yours and they want their whole house with it. It's like, all right, you might get a couple big wins there. So just something to think about, the right marketing, because a lot of people get into this. And I mean, Eric's talked about it on here before too. And it's one of my biggest learning lessons is we know what we're good at in our skills, but most people don't know the marketing side of it. Like, how do we actually go sell this? How do we get
Well, you can't know everything, you know.
You're right. Exactly.
You can't know. You need the help. I mean, it's that with every business. I've noticed. You try to take it all on, and it becomes too much too quick.
Yes.
I mean, for example, my younger brother runs our family painting company that's been around for like 30 years. They paint residential and commercial buildings, right? Well, he paints all day from sun up to sundown, and then goes home and does like 4 hours of bookkeeping. So you need a little help, man. And I think, and you can't know everything. And that's, you know, I'd like to talk about that with you, Erik. Back when I was fresh out of college, I graduated, got me a little associate's degree from New Mexico Junior College. I graduated high school in 1994, and right about then, the computers were just taking off, really. Honestly, it was just...
I remember that. Murray remembers that.
Remember that, right? And I said, you know what? I bet this isn't going away. I better learn a little something. So I went and got me an associate's degree in computer graphics, and then it was my last week of school, and I was working at a little print shop here at the school, at the print shop at the JC. And my boss says, "So Mark, what are you going to do now? The summer's coming. What are you going to do now?" I said, "Just keep working." He says, "Where?" I said, "Here." "Well, you can't work here. We only hire students. You're graduating." I said, "Really?"
Yeah.
I thought I was good. You know, he said, "No, you gotta move on." And he goes, I said, "Well, I guess I don't know what I'm doing." And he said, "Well, do you like this? Do you like what we're doing here, printing?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Because I've got a friend in Austin with a print shop, big one, and he'd probably hire you." I said, "Austin, whatever he's got, man, I'll sweep the floors. I don't care. Get me out of here." You know? He sends me to Austin, and I do that job for a while, and it just was a very low paying job. It was hard to make, you know, always that's the issue. But
when was this? Because Austin,
yeah,
we're fun town. I've only been there once, but
yeah, we're talking 97, 96, 97.
Before it got too crazy there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I got there right before it really took off. And I mean, it was fine. So got down there, started working at a little print shop and everything. It just wasn't making it. So I kind of went back to my roots. My dad had been painting houses and commercial buildings for a long time, for 10, 15 years by then. Maybe, you know, about that. And then I said, you know what? I can do that. So I literally went to Sherwin-Williams with my last check, with my last paycheck from printing. And I bought a roller, a pan, and a brush. And I said, all right,
let's do it.
Let's go paint something. So I loaded those in the back of my truck. I put on some old painting clothes from when I used to help my dad to make myself look like a painter. And I drove around. I literally drove every street in San Marcos, Texas, driving. That's driving, and I found a little building that I could see some construction going on. And I walk up and I said, "Hey, you guys got a painter?" "Yeah, we have a painter." "No, thanks, man." I said, "Okay." Got back and kept driving. See a guy. I see another guy cleaning up another house. Happened to be a realtor. He was just throwing trash or something out of a rental house he was cleaning out. I said, "I'm a painter. You need a painter?" "Matter of fact, I need this thing painted. How much you charge?" I don't know. I don't know. I said, paint. How much would the paint cost? Maybe like $300. So I charge about $600. "No, I'll give you $300. I said, "That's what the paint costs." "Well, take it or leave it." "I'll take it." So I did. I got that little first job. Just literally just walked up to a guy that I saw some construction happening. I think they were replacing windows or something. And I walk up and he's cleaning trash and there's windows guys. And, there's some construction activity. So I get that little job and all of a sudden, "You got another one?" "Yeah, I've got another one." So that one went to another one. And all of a sudden I'm like, wow, this is kind of doing something. I'm not making hardly any money, but I'm painting and it's mine. That was the big part of it. You feel a sense of pride when nobody told you what to do and all that. So, so then eventually I said, "You know what?" I called my younger brother. "Hey, I got a painting job over here." He moves over there too to San Marcos from our area, from here, Erik. And he's painting a little house. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to try to get a bigger one." And you just get this ambition going, this drive, right? When it starts trickling off, like going, the snowball starts really little and you want to just see how big you can get it. So I start going to big construction areas. Matter of fact, I'm driving. So I go, "You know what? The bigger, the better." I drive to Austin. No, it's about 30 miles north of San Marcos. And I drive up to Austin. I'm driving the streets there and I see a big building and I see a lot of construction going on. I walk up.
This is it right here.
Why not? So I walk up there, said, "Hey guys, I'm a painter. Y'all need a painter? How much you charge?" I said, "Well, let me give you a bid on this building." I said, $7,000. "Yeah, sounds good." "Really?" That look, the disbelief.
Same thing when you're an attorney and you quote a price. So "You're going to pay me that much? All right. Okay, let's do it."
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So he says, "Yeah, so then I need more people. It's just me and my younger brother. He's back doing another little rental house or something for nothing." So all of a sudden I start calling up my buddies. "Hey guys, y'all ever painted anything?" "No." "Perfect." I won't pay you much. Come on. So I loaded up.
Money.
I loaded up a bunch of buddies from San Marcos in my truck and we went and we're painting this building. And I said, "What was this thing? Or what is this going to be or what?" I had no idea. And they said, it was an old adult movie theater. I said,
that's
"Okay."
A good way of putting this.
I said, "Okay."
Murray's favorite place to be.
Come on now.
And I said, "Really?" I said, "Well, okay. So we're painting this thing, and this is going to be some computer store or something after that." But it was funny. I was
it still would be an adult movie theater.
To me, it's always that. And so that was the first big job that I got. And from there, I wanted to follow this man. I said, "Hey, you got any other big jobs?" And we followed him for a while. And eventually I got a little bit overextended, and I got stiffed like 30 or 40,000, and it just broke the bank. And I owed Sherwin-Williams the 30,000.
Yeah.
They took all my savings, and then I couldn't pay my work. It just fell apart. So I think I needed some help there somehow. Maybe an attorney would have helped, right?
Yeah.
To sue the guys in. At that time I was like, I can't afford an attorney. I don't even know what laws are broken here.
Yeah.
And such. So it kind of fell apart. And
you got to pay an attorney too. And then your money was going away.
So I moved out of there. I moved out of that painting business for a while, and I went back to school and got a bachelor's degree and such, and went on from there. But just so you know, even if you get a side hustle going, don't take for granted that you've got it, that you know what you need some help.
Yeah.
You need some help.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that I've noticed about you and I've known you since, let's see, I got here in 2010, and it wasn't much later than that you started working with one of the local attorneys here.
Right.
But I've always noticed, I got the comfortable, I don't want to say comfortable, but I got the weekly paycheck working at the DA's office. Mm-hmm. But ever since I've known you, you've always worked with private attorneys where you got some more freedom and autonomy. And I think it's the same thing, probably the same thing that drove you to do the painting business. And then I know you got some other stuff going on that we'll get to here in a second. But ever since I've known you, and then with the painting stuff now that you have online, it seems like you have an entrepreneur mind.
You know,
For sure.
that is true. I always have had that. Even right when I graduated high school, before I went to the JC, I wanted to pursue acting. I don't know why. I just thought maybe that'd be fun to be famous or something.
Yeah,
and you know, it's a youthful.
I've been told I look like Brad Pitt.
Exactly. Yeah, you know. And so I told my dad and my mom and dad, I'm moving to New York. He's like, why? And I said, well, I'm going to go to Broadway, see if I can land a little job. I said, millions of people do it. I don't see why I can't do it. I've always been of this mindset that if another man or woman can do it, I can do it. Yeah. I really have always thought that. I mean, seriously, even operations and stuff, if you learn why anybody can do it, right? I think, I don't know. I've always thought that if another person can do it, just show me what buttons to push. Exactly. I'll get us to the moon or whatever we got to do. Right. So my dad, he says, all right, you know what? I can see that there's not going to be any change in your mind. So we'll drive you up there. So we took off. And the first night we drove from Denver City, Texas, all the way to Oklahoma City. And he says, we stay the night there. And that night, I think it was like New Year's or something. And there was a lot of fireworks going on and stuff. And we're in the bridge. There were so many cars that had stopped on this overpass type of bridge thing. And we're out there with a bunch of people. And he goes, this is cool. Look at this. And we're watching the fireworks. And he goes, Mark, this town's big. Why don't you just try it here? And then plus you're not as far away from us. We can visit you every now and then.
It's a one-day drive.
Exactly. Yeah. I said, you know what? Okay. So the next morning we got in a little apartment and he said, so what are you going to do? So I said, well, I'll go to school. Right. So I started going to school and quickly my mind starts working like, you know what? I can do more than just study a few. So I tried to do a little painting company there. And so check this out. So I go down to Kinko's and I print like 100 flyers. All right. And it says painting, you know, Baraibar painting, call me for cheap prices or whatever. And the next morning I go and I put flyers on every telephone pole and everywhere I could, hundreds probably. And so I go home and I'm waiting and I'm just nervous, excited. Somebody's going to call, right? And my phone rings. And I'm like, oh my God, nobody even knows I'm here, right? So obviously it's one of these flyers. Hello, is this a Baraibar painting? I say, yeah, I can help you. This is the city manager. We're going to need to have you take those flyers off of our telephone poles. Oh man!
Wait a minute. Do you got a house that needs to be painted?
Yeah. So I had to go back driving. I didn't even remember where I put all those things. I took down his videos. Like I was so humiliated. It was such a bummer that I think I didn't even continue it. Yeah. I think I left it alone.
Thank God for the internet now.
I'm so glad you told that story because Erik and I had that happen to us twice. We were in bands and we were looking for new bandmates. For some reason, we had the hardest time keeping a bass player. So we did it one time in the town we grew up in. We got a couple of calls from the stores like, this is private property. Like, you can't do that. You got to come take these down. And then the other time, we spent all night. We did the same thing as you. We went to the print shop and we spent all night and we plastered it everywhere on the college campus. The next morning, I swear, they have people, you had to get a stamp on the back. We didn't know that. The next morning, they were all gone. Somebody else went and took them all down. I was like,
I learned that one too.
Learning lesson.
Yeah. I can't believe that we lived through life without the internet where you had to take an ad and like post it up somewhere.
Bulletin boards, telephone poles, whatever I could. I even did those little yard signs. I was putting them in random places.
Yes. But I always knew I was going to be an attorney because every time I put those ads up where I knew we were going to get in trouble, I'd always put Murray's number on there.
Yeah.
True, I got another call. We're getting sued now.
Yeah. Well, don't worry, I'm going to law school in 10 years. Continue it.
Yeah.
So what's up? Are you still in a band? Do you still play?
I am. Yeah, I am.
Why not start this podcast off with the little rock sesh?
Yeah, I know. I know. Oh, we will. We'll edit it in later. I haven't figured it out yet with all this stuff here.
Yeah.
So Murray, what's your side hustle? What's your side hustle?
So my side hustle is I'm building software solutions. So SaaS, and really I focused on my skill set of R&D. I know how to take something from concept to, quote unquote physical. In this case, it's software instead of actually, a product that somebody can physically hold. But I just took that mindset and I looked at what kind of side hustle do I want to do, because there's certain ones that fit the lifestyle you're going after. And I was looking more for passive income. I tend to stretch myself real thin. I have a lot of different side hustles and hobbies and all while maintaining, you know, a very critical day job right now. So it's like, okay, I need to do something that can get me a little bit of where I'm not trading dollars for hours. So that's where I landed on the software side. And, you know, just like you with the painting, had no clue. All I know is how to research. That's it. I have no idea how to build any software. And I made sure that when I set out for it, that I told myself, ignorance is bliss. Don't learn how to do any of the coding. Like, there's contractors, you can pay people for that. You know, if you build it slowly and small, you can afford it. But I was like, don't do that, because then you're going to get bogged down in that, where the intent of this was for me to run the company. Just like you said, you know, you're out there painting every day, and then you either have to go home and run the books, or you got stretched too thin and things just, you know, kind of spin out of control. So I can relate with a lot of what you're saying. So I appreciate all the good stories.
Yeah. But you know, here's the thing, like, if you don't know, you know, they say, follow what you love, follow what you love. That's, like I said earlier, it's easier said than done. What is it that you love? And like, people don't, like, you know, if you've been working in the oil field for the past 15, 20 years, oh, why don't you do something you love to do? What? Yeah. You know, that's the part that's missing in a lot of people's soul, I think, is that they don't know what it is. Yeah. And you're not going to know what it is if you don't go ahead and open up, man, put your guard down and just try something.
Exactly. That's what me and Murray and I talk about on here. Miss Morris would be very upset with me for that, Murray. she would harp on us for that one. But that's what we really talk about on here is my family, and even, I mean, my wife's being very nice, letting me hijack the kitchen and call it the studio tonight, supporting me in doing this. But everyone thinks that I'm crazy because I'm not the best attorney in the world, but I was a pretty good trial attorney. All I know is criminal law. All I know is criminal law. I've been a prosecutor my entire career. And now I tell people, you know, in 10 years, where do you see yourself? Private practice, maybe working for a big law firm in Albuquerque, you know, making good money? No. I don't want to do that anymore. It almost damn near killed me, to be honest. A lot of people don't know that, but that's the stress I went through. Like, just like you go through with people, you know, every day I come into the office and I got to meet with victims of a homicide, the worst thing you could possibly imagine happened to your loved one.
They demand justice.
Yes.
And it's on you to make it happen.
And I've lost a first degree murder case, and and it sucks. Yeah. So I don't want to be trying cases when I'm 50. But I'm still passionate about the law. I want to get up on stage.
There's
and talk.
Other ways. There's other ways you can give to the law, other than And some people, that is their passion, and that's great that we have people like that. They can absolutely roll it off their back.
Yes,
and go to the next one. And it is, and you know what? There's issues there. I don't think you can just do it and be. You can't have it all, in no matter what you do. Yeah. And you can't be the number one prosecutor, the number one defense attorney, and the happiest person in town. Exactly. I don't think those two go together.
I chased that. That's how I was competitive. Murray knows we've known each other since we were little kids. When I came out here, I told them, I said, I'm packing 2 suitcases because I'm damn near homeless in Michigan. I'm going to go to this little town in Mexico. I'm going to be the greatest prosecutor they ever seen, and I'll come back to Michigan. And the pursuit of that's what every attorney wants to do. And that's why the best attorneys in the office often are the ones that suffer from burnout, because of that workaholic attitude, that nonstop got to be the best, got to win, and the constant demand. I mean, we're in a profession where you can get paid $400, $500 an hour for your advice because you're
and hate every minute.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
This is something that can't be replicated. That gut feeling, that kick in the gut feeling, you can't replicate that in mock anything, in mock trials, in law school. You're just a student still in law school. Here's what really got me in. If we're getting off track,
there's no rules here. All right, get that match out and light it up.
In law school, a lot of kids would talk like they were already the number one litigator in town, and I would think in my head, because I was older. I didn't start law school till, a little older, so 30s. And a lot of the kids in there were young 20s. And I'm like, what have you done in your life to feel, where's this ego coming? You've never done a case. Have you ever been to court? Just because dad or mom or an attorney doesn't make you a great, I just felt this righteous thing was really weird to me. So anyway, I felt like I was always the dumbest student in the school. I just always felt that I come from immigrants, both of my parents were immigrants. A lot of these kids that I went to school with, mom and dad were attorneys or a surgeon or something amazing. You know, aunt and uncle were a owner of a big firm. And I was like, oh my God, when I was hearing these stories, I was like, wow, I've stepped in it too deep. You know, I've gone a little bit too deep into the water here. But, you know, I said, hey, I'd like to finish what I start. That's one thing that really I get out of painting canvases of the result. I'm like, oh, wow, it's done. Hang it, forget it. Hang it, forget it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it turns into sell it and forget it.
That's hard to do with the law. It's rare that you can say, look, it's done. Look at my work.
That's right.
Because while you're working, you have another attorney who's trying to destroy what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I've heard that analogy, and it's so perfect. When you're a lawyer, it's like a surgeon. Your job is to fix somebody, and you're doing work, and you're fixing somebody, and you're making them better. But when you're a lawyer, it's like you're a surgeon with another surgeon trying to undo all of your work.
Exactly. Undo.
So there's such
throwing a little
satisfaction.
dirt into the suture there.
Yeah.
And
Satisfaction, it got to be in doing a painting.
And then there's this weird thing where we have to shake hands and act friendly to each other after and before. It's like that cartoon where where is that sheepdog and the other guy beat each other up all day. And then, all right, Ralph.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow. That's how it feels, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I was a defense attorney for a while, and you were the prosecutor on several cases. And you know, just like that, when they said, okay, we're looking at case number, okay, we have to put our lawyer suit on. And now all of a sudden, I don't hate you, Erik, but I have to argue every single thing that you say.
I object to your continuance.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not going to do this.
No, you don't. You cannot have 10 more minutes to prepare, Erik.
Where did it go now?
And then after that, hey, you want to go get something to eat?
Yeah.
You know, it's just such a weird give and take thing that happens in there. You know, I highly recommend all my attorney buddies out there, if any of you guys are listening, pick up a little side hustle, even if it doesn't pay anything, just do something else. I'm real proud of some of my friends out there posting a lot of jogging. Your old boss is or current boss, I don't know, but a lot of running and jogging, exercising, get it out of your system, do something. There's no reason to sit around and wait this thing out.
I'm glad you brought that up, Murray. I think you agree. So a lot of people we talk to on our podcast are people that maybe some of them get burnt out with their profession, or they decide that they have a passion in life that they forgot about because they had to get a job and that's their career. But for you, you clearly enjoy being an attorney, something you worked hard to do. There's stress involved. For you, the side hustle is not like I'm going to be a Bob Ross professional painter, but it helps deal with the stress of the practice of law, so you don't burn out.
Exactly. And it gives me, like I was telling you earlier, this thing doesn't turn off in my head. This law, this legal thing. It just doesn't. I get texts, Facebook messages, constantly, day and night. And then when I sit down and get a canvas in front of me and I just start putting paint on there, I'm like, this might work, this might not work. Believe me, I've thrown plenty of them in the dumpster fire. And then, but either way, even if I do throw it in the dumpster, there went 2 hours where I wasn't thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I think probably a big part of the passion is coming from, is that I finally get this mental break.
Right.
This mental break from
exactly.
it.
That's huge.
As opposed to sitting there and kicking back drinks with this anger lingering somewhere. And that's not a good thing. I don't think
not. I'm not going to test that one.
Believe me,
sir.
The alcohol doesn't make you happier. No. If anything, it makes you more upset.
Oh, yeah. You wake up the next day, you feel terrible.
Yeah. And then, but even about what you're dealing with at the time, you know what? I've made that a point, Erik, in my life, to not drink when I'm upset. I don't know how I've done it. I've just said, because I've tried it.
Yeah.
And then it didn't work. Yeah. It didn't work out. So
that's a good thing you're not a Lions fan.
Yeah, exactly. So I've always tried to make it a point, if I go to court and it doesn't go, if it goes terribly, I'm not going to go home and drink. That's not the day I do it.
It's good. That's smart. I like that.
If it goes a good day, I'll go have a celebratory drink or whatever. But I've tried to make it a point not to mix alcohol with bad times.
Yeah. No, that's I think that's smart.
It just adds fuel to the fire.
It does.
Man.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
I can tell you, like when I was in Espanola, maybe not necessarily a bad day, but more upset, but just the stress. That's what I found, and the way that I realized the dark. I was kind of like Dante's Inferno, like I was about to step into that
volcano.
Yeah, exactly. And I somehow, luckily, hopefully, with help from my wife, I was able to pull myself back from that. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's easy to get in that. Yeah,
and So you got to find a healthier avenue. And if you don't, I don't know how else to say it, but if you don't know what that outlet is, how else are you going to know it if you don't go out and try it?
Exactly.
You know what? A good
lot of people don't do it. They know they want to do it. They just don't because they're scared about what people are going to say or whatever.
They feel like emasculated by it or whatever, that it's weak to do some, for example, let's just throw an example out. Here in Lee County, we have, I think, 2 or 3 disc golf courses, right?
Yes, if
I was to ask a random hardworking oil field man, man's man, let's go play disc golf, I think he would feel like that's like weak or something.
Right.
I don't know. But I guarantee you, man, if you go out there and do it a few times, you might enjoy it.
Well, I don't want to derail your story here, but do you play disc golf?
I do, yeah. I love it.
Murray, I had no idea. I love disc golf. Me and Murray have been playing for years. And I told him, I said, the reason I don't play a lot down here is because I don't have anybody to play with. So problem solved. If nothing else,
exactly. If anything comes out of this.
Yes.
See, networking pays off in multiple ways.
Yeah. All we had to do is I spent $800 of this.
You're going to need to do it. You're going to need to do a spreadsheet. I think you have another side hustle here, Murray. You're going to need to do a spreadsheet of all this, these side hustles and ideas and network, literally, like you're saying. And spiderweb everyone together where we can all just go out and play disc golf. And
it's a good idea.
Well, that's awesome. I've been trying to get Murray to come down here.
Well, man, you come from San Marcos, Austin area, man. There's some of the most beautiful disc golf courses that I've ever seen. So
our disc golf course here is not bad.
No, it's not bad.
Not bad at all.
My friend Eddie designed them.
Really?
Yes. One, if not all 3. I don't know.
We definitely got to get together.
I was going to say, let's get him on the podcast.
My friend
kidding.
Absolutely. My buddy Eddie, he's a fireman. He's a badass. He's an artist, everything. Props to my boy Eddie and all my firefighters out there. Hello, and thank you for what you guys do out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So for example, to throw it out there, most people probably, honestly, would you agree most people have not probably played disc golf?
No, not here. In Michigan, it's a little more popular. But yeah, when I tell people, they're like, you need to come out and play golf. I'm like, do you have any discs? And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, down here, it's not.
Barely even know what it is.
It's a fringe sport here for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the kind of thing I'm saying. It's like it's hard to get somebody out of their comfort zone and let's go try something new and different.
Yeah.
And you know what, man? What if you take a guy out here? Look, first of all, back to my oil field buddies. They've been throwing pipes and wrenches and hustling the snow and wind and heat. They're strong, man. They could probably outthrow us, bro.
Oh yeah,
every time.
I can barely even make it walking through the course.
They could probably outthrow us by a mile. And imagine that feeling if you've never done it before, and everybody goes, "Wow, that was an amazing drive." Really? Yeah, that was awesome. And all of a sudden they find something, an outlet, and
but like you said, you got to do it. You just got to go do it.
You got to try it, man. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, who knows? So why, nobody's going to say anything.
Yeah.
Like these paintings, if they didn't work out, me and my girlfriend say, hey, put them in the dumpster fire, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Forget about it.
Murray, you don't talk about your side hustle a lot on here, and I don't know why. I've never asked you, but why did you pick doing the SaaS field and doing the software? Just did it relate to engineering, or was that something that you just always wanted to mess around with that stuff?
So my day job has always been rooted in medical. And I have so many other passions, whether it's music, animals, things like that. So I tried finding an industry where I could go make a difference in those. So I really looked at what are my core values, what do I want to go after other than helping the medical industry. And I realized that doing software, I can build different apps for different industries very easy. So I don't necessarily, I'm not I'm not getting myself stuck in a corner. Going after the same exact things. It allows me to branch out for everything I want to do. Now it'll take a little bit of time. And again, it was a huge learning curve, always learning, still doing that. But I think, you touched on it perfectly. 3 different things there. The first thing is I always think of that movie. What is it? Yes, Man. Just try it. But going into that, know that you just need to be humble. You're going to hit walls. You're going to struggle, ask for help, figure it out. And then there's going to be moments when you succeed. And when you do succeed, like you said, somebody goes out there and they throw that disc and it's like, you take the time to celebrate that because you've gone through all the, trials and all the pain to get to where you are. Make sure that you're doing that so you can fuel that fire a little bit more and keep going. So that was kind of my mindset going into it. I took the time up front to make sure I knew what I wanted to go into instead of just branching off of what I'm already doing. Now, could I go out and do what I'm doing now on my own? Yeah, I could, but I wanted to give something else a try. I really wanted to dive into the deep end and see if I can make it work. So maybe even a little bit of a personal challenge there for myself.
Good. Yeah. And you have to realize that the first 6 months to a year, you're not going to make any money probably.
Yeah. Right.
If
Same
anything,
thing with private practice. Too.
Yeah, you'll be lucky if you don't have to bankrupt the thing.
Okay, I got to ask you that. I know you don't got to talk about you got a great gig. It seems like with Sil, but in your future as an attorney, do you see yourself doing a private practice? Just by yourself, your own boss, with all so you have that entrepreneur spirit.
I mean, I do have that spirit right now.
And you do criminal law and you do civil law. There's not very many attorneys that can do both. I suck at civil law. I'm just an old prosecutor.
I'm the opposite. I suck at criminal law. So, no, I think I've settled in pretty nicely into the civil practice. And plus, it's so difficult that it's one of those things where you got to. My great defense attorney friend John Frelin, he told me that at one point he told me, Mark, you're doing too much. You're doing criminal, you're doing civil, you're doing it all. You're going to be jack of all trades, master of none. I think you need to pick one and stick with it.
So
he's right. He's right. And when it comes to the law, the books, man, it's libraries full of each field.
Yeah.
And there's no way we can read them all. So why pretend to know it all? Yeah. So I think I've settled in kind of nicely with this personal injury, and it's still a mountain, believe me, a Mount Everest of information and constantly evolving and changing laws and rules and strategies. They keep changing, so it's hard enough just to try to keep up with. Hard enough to even learn it, much less keep up with it. So I think I've fallen into this one. But you asked me if I see myself doing my own private practice
at some point in your life.
Yeah, you know, I could, and I absolutely would love that. But I think in the situation I'm in, it's a unique situation. Right. So when I go speak to the high school students, I speak to them every couple, every other year. I go give just a career day kind of thing. And they ask me, they always ask me, I say, any questions? And you don't get a hand up. And I said, I know what y'all want to know. How much money do I make?
Yeah.
Of course. And I'll tell them.
This is free advice, kids. Come on. I'm going to charge you in a few years.
So I'll ask it for them. I'll say, how much money do I make? And I'll tell them, look, no matter how much money I make, you cannot base it off that because it's a unique situation.
Yes.
You're not going to go.
It's not always about the money.
Yeah. Well, differently than that, Eric, it's that I fell into a lucky spot. Mr. Silva is one of the most giving, caring attorneys I've ever met.
Good dude. I met him one time. Very nice guy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not a typical situation.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt I got very lucky.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you that if you go to law school, this is going to happen to you. I don't make a ton of money. Right. I make great money, but it's a unique situation still. I think most people that come out of law school with that $250,000 bill are not going to make a lot of money. Right. I'm serious, sir. They're lucky to make 60 something thousand a year.
But what's interesting though too is a lot of people are like, I'm going to go to law school, I'm going to get a corporate job, and make so much money.
Yeah.
What I found is I look back, in the early years when I was making $55,000 a year. I was very happy. I was happy. I had drove a crappy old Jeep Cherokee that could just barely get me up the mountain, but she would never get stuck. And then I look at, I have all this stuff now, and it's like I don't feel the same as I used to back then, and I make triple what I did back then.
Absolutely,
it's not always about the money. You got to be fulfilled in what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be honest with you. I was more happy when I was painting houses. Bro, I would paint all day you got to go when the sun cracks.
There it is. We coaxed it out of him, Murray. 50 minutes in. I knew we'd get there.
I go paint houses when the sun cracked. I said, let's go do it because it was some kind of pride that it was mine and I was making this happen. And I'd go out there and I'd paint all day. And at the end, and we wouldn't stop at 5. We'd keep going until the sun starts going down. We start wrapping it up. I'd be exhausted. I felt just fulfilled that I did my own thing, created my own thing. And so I'd go, paint from head to toe, man. And that's when I'd go out to a bar and have a drink or something. And I swear I was way more happy. I was, no offense to the current girlfriend, but I'd pickup girls way easier back then in the day. Full of paint than in a suit.
Yeah.
I swear.
When you're in a town of oil field workers that make way more than attorneys, meaning attorney don't get any.
Believe me, I tried going to the bar in a suit. They're like, "What's the cop doing here?" Or whatever. What's what's he?
I got another cover.
Oh man, is that an inspector? What's he doing here?
Exactly.
Yeah, I did. So, anyways,
I told you. Look, we're damn near at an hour. I promised people we're going to talk about the food truck.
Oh, okay.
Murray. So I've known Mark for a long time. Like basically when I came here, he was here, and I saw him one day at Albertsons, and he's got a guy with him that I'd recognize as one of the top chefs in town. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell is Mark doing with a guy from the Saxony Steakhouse here?
Yeah.
And they're looking at all this food, and the guy's like sniffing stuff. I'm like, it looked fun. So I'm
Nick,
like, oh, what's going on
props
here? Yeah.
to my chef, Nick.
Yeah. So I go and talk to you. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And and I thought you were joking. You're like, oh, I bought a food truck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's cool. You're like, no, really. I bought a food truck.
No, I did.
Tell me about the food truck.
I will, man. So I love to cook. That's just being out here in West Texas, man. We're grilling and chilling out here, man, and that's a big deal to us. I've been doing it since I was a kid.
Yeah,
and I'm not the greatest cook in the world. Let me show you, Murray. Do you see that?
Yeah,
do you see
finger.
First of all, it's painting tape. Okay,
of course.
So last night I was cutting a brisket and. Nick, where were you? But I was cutting the fat off of a brisket, and I sharpened the knife way too much, and it just went right through there like it'd never gone before. And pop! It's bad when you hear a pop.
Yeah,
yeah, and it was a disaster.
Yeah, it looks like it's falling on. I want to get that checked out there.
Thanks, man. Blood everywhere, and so I love to cook. All right,
yeah.
I'm not gonna let you stop me.
No,
okay?
don't.
Anyways, I was loving to cook, and I created this weird recipe. I don't know. We won't get into that, but I said, you know what? People would like to taste this. I think. I don't know. I think they'd like to taste it, right? So I said, I'm going to start looking for a food truck and see if I can get some recipes out there and maybe share the love with the people. And so I asked a buddy of mine. Her name is Amanda. She was a bartender here at the Family Inn and everything, and said, hey, I'm thinking about starting a little food truck or something. You know anybody? And she knew somebody with a food truck, and I did. I went in and bought it, and then I said, well, you know what? When am I going to do this? Right. So I'll hire somebody and I'll give them the recipe, and then they can take it from there. Well, I talked to my buddy, Nick, amazing chef, man, that guy, you're with a good chef when that's all they talk about.
Yeah.
That's when I knew this is the guy. When I sat down and I said, hey, can I buy you a beer? He said, man, did you try the so-and-so sauce I made? And he would just start talking. I put a little bit of what people don't want. And he was he was just into it. I put a little drop of cinnamon in there. They'll never even know it. Then some this and that. And, I was like, wow. I said, you know what, Nick, I bought a food truck. Would you like to run it? And well, it turned out, beginning business, like I told you, 6 months to a year, you're not going to make any money. And that was a little bit too much for him. He needed to pay the rent too, so I wish I would have had more capital at that time to support him and keep it going. I think we could have done something with it, but it quickly, didn't start, paying quick enough, I guess, for what we needed. And I got a little bit too far ahead of myself. I needed to save up a little more capital, which I do recommend. If you're going to start a little side hustle, consider not making money for the first 6 months to a year. So whatever you're doing, go get another job still. Yeah. Get another job still. Get 2-3 jobs where you're sleeping 6 hours a day and save up every single penny. Don't buy that beer. Don't buy that, whatever. Don't buy anything. Right. Save it all, man.
It's one of my favorite things that Gary Vee says in that speech that he does is like a lot of people here that raise their hand about wanting to be their own boss will never get there because they buy a lot of dumb shit.
Exactly.
Shit that they don't need to impress people they hate.
That's right. So yeah, that's, I think you got to prepare yourself for hard times whenever you're doing a little side hustle, man. You got to expect it to fail. And don't give up so quickly like I did in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Well, clearly, I mean, with all the stuff that you've done and the success that you've had, I think there's no question that you're going to be one of the, if you stay in this area, you're going to be one of the big attorneys down here for sure. You're going to have your own private practice at some point. You're going to do fine. And the paintings and everything, like, I think even though you are working a job as an associate attorney, I think, Murray, you would probably agree. Like, Mark's like one of the most entrepreneurial minds that like the most that we've had on here. Like everything he does.
I was thinking about that earlier in prep for this. I was like, man, he's kind of done multiple things, and I don't know if we've ever had a multi-entrepreneurial on here before. So yeah, a lot of good stories.
Guys. I appreciate that. And it really goes back to that idea of if another man's done it, I can do it.
Yeah.
I really have led that life from the very beginning.
Well, Murray can pick up any chick he wants. I can't do that. I'm not going to even try to compete with him.
Well, you can pick her up.
Totally different story.
That's a good point. Yeah, see? Yeah, God.
See? Yeah, just think outside the box.
How much can she weigh? I mean, come on.
Amazing.
Yeah, so if you have that mindset, and if you're not happy with what you're doing, there you go, man. There's your answer.
Yeah.
I'd rather be broke and happy than rich and miserable.
Exactly. Man,
Every
can't
single
say that
time.
any better. Murray, what else you got? Give us some words of wisdom here.
We're coming up on time here, so want to make sure we give them time to any shout outs. Where can they find you? I don't know if you're painting, if you have a dedicated Facebook page yet, but anyone you want to shout out to, we'll give you the floor for a minute and go ahead and take the mic.
Thank you guys. It was a pleasure to be here, guys. I appreciate it. Keep it going, please. Don't give up on it. It's not going to pay you in the first 6 months to a year. Remember that. Just keep it going.
No, we're paying. Now, this stuff costs money here.
Exactly. So just keep it going,
subscribers,
guys.
and no one will press the damn button.
This is good stuff, man. I want to send a shout out to all my Lee County people. Keep your heads up, guys. I know oil field's struggling right now, but go find yourself something to do, man. Somehow, some way, get out of your comfort zone. I do highly recommend that. Don't stay at the house fighting with your significant other. Let's be better than that. Let's be better than that. Other than that, guys, I appreciate y'all. I hope to maybe you bring me back some other time.
Where's your Facebook page? You got those paintings on there, and they look really good. Where can we find you on Facebook?
Thanks, Erik. My name's Mark Baraibar. You can friend me. I accept all friends on there. Mark, last name Baraibar, Baraibar. So
just look him up. It's there. And we'll when we post this episode, check the links. We'll leave a link to all of Mark's stuff on there. So he's got a lot of paintings on there, and they're good. It's good stuff.
Thanks, man.
You are definitely a painter. You got the painting tape on there.
Exactly. Yeah. No Band-Aids in my house.
He's a hell of an attorney, and he's a hell of a painter, guys.
I think so.
Appreciate
you guys.
Yeah,
what else, Murray? We could spend 2 minutes talking about disc golf if we want.
No, we're good.
No one listens at the end. We can talk about whatever the hell we want.
Have you ever aced the hole?
I've gotten 2.
Me too.
I've got 2.
I've aced 2.
It took Murray like 30 years to get an ace.
Here's the thing. Mine is an ace with an asterisk because it wasn't a true ace, because I just got this new disc. I already threw my first one. I got this new disc. I was like, I just want to try it. I think it's going to be a straight line. I'll just shoot straight for it. Sure enough, sunk it. I was like,
nice.
Of course, I had to be my second throw.
He's like that movie, Escanaba and the Moonlight. The buckless Youper. Murray was like the only one out of our crew without an ace.
Hey, man.
Had
Congratulations, Murray.
Yeah, thanks.
Good job, buddy. Yeah. Hey, man. I bet you got some good courses up in Michigan.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah, especially with Discraft being up here. Like, they really get around.
I'll tell you what, next year, when COVID-19's up, I always go up there. I have a group of friends, obviously. I've known Murray since we were little kids, and we go camping for a week, and all we do is play disc golf, float in the river,
oh man,
and drink sodas.
I'm a river rat, man.
Yes.
San Marcos, Austin for
you're
over 10
invited
years, man.
The next trip, we're going to make this happen.
Let's do it, guys. Appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll see you guys next time. Hang on. Don't turn it off just yet. If you enjoyed the podcast, please consider subscribing. We'd love to hear your feedback. Let us know what topics you want to hear us talk about on here. As always, you can find me at tacticalattorney.com. You can find Murray at fullvolumesolutions.com. Appreciate it, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.